So Supernatural Bloodlines is a was is a backdoor pilot. It was supposed to be a spin-off series from Supernatural. And when it was announced backdoor pilot, I'm like, okay, I'm not sure what that is, but watching it, it's been through two backdoor pilots for two different series coming out of Supernatural, and neither of them worked for some reason. But here, this one, it's painfully obvious. You watch it like you're watching any episode. If you watch the episodes in order, you get to this one, and it's painfully obvious because this takes away from the direct narrative of season 9 as a whole, which had to do with Metatron, and then at this point, and it presents us with an entirely new story, and we get this. It could be the basic beginning of a Supernatural episode. This guy is out with this girl. He's going to propose, and we see something go down with a bunch of monsters in a back room. And then someone shows up, starts slashing and dicing with this. It's a Freddy Krueger claw that's made of silver, so you can take down monsters like werewolves and shapeshifters. And one of them, Salvatore Lassiter, is found by the couple as they're leaving, and the woman is killed by this guy, or supposed creature, and then he kills Sal, leaving Ennis alone. And then we get the Supernatural. And then instead of going to Sam and Dean like it would, it continues this narrative. And we get Ennis at the police station. He's talking to a cop who's an old friend of his dad's. His dad supposedly died when he was younger. Or his dad died when he was younger. I said supposedly. I'm ruining the rest of it. And he's... my stomach's a little icky right now. Ennis is trying to figure out what's going on. Meanwhile, Sal's brother, David Lassiter, is called by his sister because of what happened to Sal, so he goes back. He's a shifter, and so is Sal, the shifter family. We get an explanation later. He comes back and he starts his own investigation. He dresses up as the cop, but Ennis has an encounter with Sam and Dean before this where they tell him all about everything that's going on and what monsters are real and what you do and everything, and how to use a phone camera or a camera to tell if, sometimes you can tell if it's not human or whatever, because he is at the restaurant and I saw a wraith in the mirror, and it looked off in the mirror. Okay. So I had a notification and I sort of forgot. Yeah. So he uses his phone to look at the supposed detective, and he sees the eyes glow. It's a shifter. One thing is, up until this point, I think shifters were depicted as having to shed their skin to shapes to change their form. But now all of a sudden it's just, whatever. Since then, that's how we see shifters. Maybe they thought it was easier to just do it that way. In the earlier seasons, you'd see like skin thrown to the wayside for them to change. And now it's just like regular shapeshifter, which I actually prefer because I always thought it was kind of gross. They just left their skin thrown to the side. Now it's easier, just, and so Ennis has David at gunpoint. David tells him there are 5 monster families, basically. And we only know of 3. The werewolves, the shapeshifters, and the jinn that we find out in this. I'm assuming they were going to tell us more in the future show that ever happened, but we only find out about 3. The other two I can guess could be vampires and who would the other one be? I don't know, I suppose wraiths. I don't know. But so after this, David goes to check on his ex-girlfriend, and she figures out it's him. He's dressed as he's disguised as the butler. She figures out it's him, and then they're attacked. At the same time, Sam and Dean and Ennis, coming from different areas, they hear what's going on. Ennis shows up with a gun, shoots, misses, but he tries to help out. Sam and Dean show up. They all join together, and her name is Victoria or something, is kidnapped. We find out this is not a creature, because David says that whatever killed him had silver claws, because when he touches the jacket where the claws were, it burns him, which I'm not sure it works that way, but fine. So eventually they rescue. David himself gets captured, and they're both hanging there. We find out it's just a regular guy, and so I'm assuming we would learn more about what happened with this. Was supposedly Victoria's brother, Julian, who's played by Sean Ferris, and David's brother, Sal. Supposedly they came together and munched on this little boy, which even for this show is kind of... And even she says that they never got along and they would never do anything together like that. And I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, maybe they were planning on answering the question there, like what actually was going on. Who knows? We never got any continuation of this. Well, 17 show up, they save the day, and then they're called away by Cass. Because that was something to do with Metatron. David decides to go back to the family, because if you're gonna try to investigate, play it close, you know what I mean? His sister, who is like only in the show for episode for a second, played by Danielle Savre, which it's conflicting because it's played by Danielle Savre, and that Savre, whatever you pronounce it. And when you go to the Wikipedia page for this, she's in a cast list. It's up above. When you go down below, though, it's someone else's name on her character. So maybe they were going to recast her character, but she's still listed in the other one. I don't know. But so he rejoins, and then we get, so that's his kind of ending for this episode. And then we get the cliffhanger that's supposed to lead us into the new show, and that's Ennis decides he's going to be a hunter. He gets a phone call from a mysterious person who says, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Who is this?" "If you become a hunter, they will kill you." And he figures out it's his dad's voice. So obviously it's the sort of thing where his dad faked his death to keep his son safe, is what I'm thinking. I don't know, we never get an answer to this. And while, I'm not going to say what it is, but there was a cliffhanger for Wayward Sisters. We kind of came back to that in Supernatural. We've never come back to this. And this being the last season and we haven't done anything yet, I don't think we will. But like, they need allies, right? And as far as we know, and David, for God's sake, they are their two allies that haven't been killed off yet. Which is probably good they haven't come back, because if they've come back, they've probably been killed off because there's no chance for a spin-off. I don't know. And, Sam does remark to Dean. He says, "What are you doing?" "We're leaving." He goes, Cass has a lead on Metatron. Like, Sam actually wanted to help out things here. He wanted to stay. And that happens out even more that this was supposed to be a spin-off where Sam and Dean can't do anything because they got to do their own thing. And then Ennis was going to be the hunter here, but never happened. And I waited and waited and waited for information on this. And I finally had to look up on Wikipedia that they hadn't picked it up. And they did it twice, which pisses me off. You put effort into doing these backdoor pilots. And I'm getting frustrated because there's still no word on Green Arrow and the Canaries yet. And they, even, like, I don't know if it was Berlanti or the showrunner or whatever said that they won't get any word till like May. So I kind of want the spin-off to go on, even though they said that they'll probably reshoot the first episode. I kind of like the backdoor pilot they did. I'm just saying. I actually have a review for that, so look that up. That one didn't have a grading to it. But my grading for this one... Now, while I wasn't overly excited for this because I didn't like the idea of it's going to explore monster families, I was kind of intrigued to see where they would go with it. And I'm going to give it a C, just like the last one, because although I wasn't too thrilled with this, Aquaman I wasn't too thrilled with either. I should have mentioned it's decent, just like this one. But I was interested in seeing where it would go, so it gets a C from me. So what are your thoughts on the Supernatural Bloodlines? Let me know in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.